Michigan's Red Flag Law Full Version. The full text of Michigan's Extreme Risk Protection Order Act, ERPO, also known as the state's Red Flag Law, is codified in the Michigan Compiled Laws MC under Act 38 of 2023, specifically MCL 691.1801 to MCL 691.1821. This legislation, effective February 13, 2024, establishes a legal framework for issuing restraining orders to temporarily prohibit certain individuals from possessing or purchasing firearms and mandates the surrender or seizure of their firearms. Below is a detailed overview of the law's key provisions, summarizing its full scope and intent, as the complete statutory text is extensive and best accessed directly through official sources. For the exact wording, you can refer to the Michigan Legislature's website or Casatext compilation of Michigan Compiled Laws. Key provisions of Michigan's ERPO Act, MCL 691.1801 ET-Seek. 1. Purpose and definitions, MCL 691.1801, MCL 691. 1803. Purpose. The law aims to prevent firearm-related harm by allowing courts to issue orders that temporarily restrict firearm access for individuals posing a significant risk to themselves or others, particularly in cases of potential suicide, domestic violence, or mass shootings. Definitions. Petitioner. Individuals eligible to file for an ERPO, including law enforcement officers, family or household members, current former spouses, dating partners, roommates, those with a child in common, legal guardians, immediate family like grandparents or first cousins, and certain healthcare providers, physicians, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, certified nurse specialists, licensed mental health professionals. Respondent, the individual subject to the ERPO. Extreme Risk Protection Order, a court order prohibiting the respondent from possessing, purchasing, or receiving firearms and requiring the surrender of firearms in their possession. 2. Filing an ERPO action, MCL 691.1805. Who can file? Eligible petitioners can file a summons and complaint in the Family Division of the Circuit Court. Evidence requirements. The petitioner must provide specific facts showing the respondent poses a significant risk of intentionally or unintentionally causing serious physical injury by possessing a firearm. Evidence may include threats or acts of violence, history of domestic abuse, stalking, or protective order violations, serious mental illness, substance abuse, or criminal history, recent acquisition of deadly weapons or ammunition. Jurisdiction. For adult respondents in Michigan, petitions can be filed in any county. For minors, petitions are filed in petitioner's or respondent's county of residence. For non-residents, petitions are filed in the petitioner's county. Confidentiality. Petitioner information is kept confidential by the court clerk to protect privacy. 3. Court procedures and hearings, MCL 691.1806, MCL 691.1807. Expedited process. Courts prioritize ERPO hearings, often using video conferencing for efficiency. Standard ERPO requires a preponderance of evidence that the respondent poses a significant risk. Issued after notice and a hearing, unless an emergency order is warranted. Emergency ex parte ERPO. Issue without notice if clear and convincing evidence shows immediate and irreparable harm would result from delay. Decided within 24 hours of filing, typically lasting up to 14 days, with a hearing scheduled within 14 days, or 5 days for law enforcement officers or those required to carry a firearm for work. Factors considered by the court includes respondent's history of violence, mental health, substance abuse, prior protective orders, criminal convictions, or reckless use of weapons, modification or rescission. Respondent to petition to modify or terminate the order once every 6 months. For order contents and enforcement, MCL 691.1809, MCL 691.1815. Order details. Prohibits the respondent from possessing, purchasing, or receiving firearms. Requires surrender of firearms within 24 hours to law enforcement or, if allowed, a licensed dealer. Immediate surrender may be ordered with an anticipatory search warrant for noncompliance. Specifies a duration, up to 1 year, extendable upon petition. Service. Law enforcement must personally serve the ERPO, file proof of service, and notify the petitioner. If unserved, officers responding to violations must inform the respondent of the order's terms and enforce it. Firearms seizure and storage. Law enforcement seizes identified firearms and any others discovered in the respondent's possession. Agencies store firearms securely, with no liability for damage unless due to negligence. Firearms unclaimed within 90 days after the order expires may be disposed of per MCL 750.239 or MCL 434.21. Compliance hearing. Scheduled within 5 days of service to verify compliance. Canceled if the respondent complies. Non-compliance may lead to bench or search warrants. 5. Penalties for non-compliance. MCL 691.1819. Refusal to surrender firearms. Immediate arrest, contempt charges, fines, and imprisonment up to 1 year for first offenses, 5 years for subsequent violations. False statements. Knowingly making false statements in a petition is a felony, punishable by up to 4 years in prison or a $2,000 fine. 6. Extensions and termination. MCL 691.1817. Extension. Petitioners or the court can seek 1-year extensions if the respondent continues to pose a risk. Termination. Respondents can request early termination, with the court evaluating changed circumstances. 7. Additional provisions. Licensed firearm dealers. Courts maintain a list of dealers for firearm surrender if permitted. Federal reporting. Orders are entered into the Law Enforcement Information Network and reported to the FBI. Respondent rights includes a right to legal counsel, a hearing, and the ability to challenge an order. Implementation and context. Effective date: February 13, 2024. Following passage in April 2023 and signing by Governor Gretchen Whitmer on May 22, 2023. Legislative history. Enacted in response to the Oxford High School 2021 and Michigan State University 2023 shootings, part of a broader gun safety package, including background checks and safe storage laws. Usage. In 2024, 391 ERPO petitions were filed, with 287 granted and 84 denied, primarily initiated by law enforcement, over 80%. Public sentiment. Supported by 71% of Michiganders per a 2019 Epic MRA poll, though some sheriffs and critics question its constitutionality and due process protections. Accessing the full text, the complete text of the ERPO Act is available at Michigan Legislature website under MCL Chapter 691, Act 38 of 2023. Case text. Browsing MCL Section 691.1801 to 691.1821. State Court Administrative Office, SCAO, for forms and procedural guidance. Notes. The law emphasizes balancing public safety with individual rights, ensuring confidentiality for petitioners and due process for respondents. For practical guidance, toolkits from the University of Michigan's Institute for Firearm Injury Prevention or Foster Swift's Firearms Law Group provide resources on filing and compliance. Always consult legal counsel for case-specific advice, as this summary is not legal advice.